What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn Bound the Raid Scientist here, and today we're going to tell you everything you need to do to unlock the Scallywag Title and Seasonal Seal. We'll explain all the triumphs and even give some tips and tricks to doing some of them even faster. If you're just interested in information on a specific triumph, there are timestamps in the description you can click on to skip through the ones you already know how to do. If you find some use out of today's video, please at least give it a thumbs up. If you want to stay connected to our channel, click that subscribe button down below because it's free to do and it will get you access to all the videos posted. Alright, you scurvy dogs, let's be getting into it. Now, if you want to be a true scallywag, there are 10 triumphs you'll need to complete. Some of them are time-gated via the seasonal questline sales of the Ship Stealer and have to be kept up with weekly. So keep in mind this will take you multiple weeks to finish, which is pretty typical for one of Bungie's seasonal titles, for them to need to be worked throughout most of a season. The first triumph is Savior of the Seven Seas, which requires you to go to each of the pirate hideouts and defeat the pirate lords. This is one that is specifically tied to the seasonal quest. Each week, as you progress the quest sales of the Ship Stealer, you'll unlock a hideout where you need to secure one of the artifacts that Aramis is searching for and bring it back to the helm. This hideout only appears once you're on that step, and once you finish it, it goes away off your director. It will appear above the Catch Crash and Expedition in the helm. There will be 8 total over the course of 8 weeks, each of them having a mini-boss at the end. Kill all 8 of these mini-bosses over the quest line to finish this triumph. Secondly is the With Full Sails triumph, which requires you to purchase all the star chart upgrades in the helm. This is very similar to past seasons, but if you aren't familiar, you'll essentially need to unlock all of the upgrades for your crew. The currency required to do this is called Repute, and each Repute gives you your choice of one upgrade. The Repute currency is earned through the weekly seasonal challenges. Usually the weekly challenges that are on the top are the ones that give you Repute. You can just hover over them to see which ones they are. Typically, you can only earn 1 to 2 a week, so this will take several weeks to upgrade all the ones you need. As a tip, there is a triumph coming up requiring you to upgrade the first mate status of your crewmates that you can summon. I'd recommend trying to get one of these first mates unlocked quickly so you can start working on that triumph too. However, you will eventually need just all 3. The third triumph is called Semaphore Signals, and this requires you to listen to all the radio messages in the ether tank. Once again, this is tied to the seasonal quest line. Each week of the quest, you'll perform various tasks including Catch Crash, hideouts, and expeditions. At the point each week where the quest tells you to wait until the following week to continue, you will unlock the ability to hear a radio transmission from the Drifter or Ido or the Spider, etc. To listen to it, go to the Lixney Quarter and walk up to the terminal and interact to listen. There are 8 total messages which will require 8 progressions over 8 weeks from the quest. The fourth triumph is called Beacon's Guidance. This one requires you to complete a small, medium, and large treasure beacon. The 3 different beacons you need are purchased from the star chart and require you to level up your rank to buy them, the largest requiring up to rank 16. You can rank up to the star chart by completing Catch Crash or Expedition activities, so you're going to need to do a bunch of these to rank up high enough to buy all 3 of them. For each one you buy, it will send you on a mini treasure hunt. They will have a mini quest with a riddle that you will need to solve. Don't worry, not only is the riddle very easy to decipher, but the steps I've also listed here. Pause the video or screen capture them if you want to have the help. The next triumph up is Cruise Control, which I get a lot of questions on why their crewmate summons aren't working. For this triumph, you need to summon each of the 3 crewmates in the expedition of Catch Crash 15 times, but they need to be first mate status. So you need to upgrade your star chart so that each crewmate is a first mate. Then every time you summon one, it'll start counting. You'll need to complete the seasonal challenges to get enough repute in order to upgrade your star chart far enough to do this. This one will take multiple runs of the expedition or Catch Crash activities, so it's best to try to upgrade your star chart towards one of them quickly so you can start working on the 15 of each. The next triumph up is Crash Course, which requires you to complete the Catch Crash activity on Master difficulty. This one is going to require a fire team and some power grinding. This season, the power pinnacle cap is 1580 and the Master Catch Crash activity is 1600. Don't forget your artifact power will also count. I would recommend being at least 1580, if not probably 1585 or higher to try this. You'll need to build a team through your clan, LFG, etc. and run this one time for the triumph. Note that the Master Catch Crash activity has the Extinguish modifier among a ton of others. Extinguish causes you to go to orbit with a full team wipe. So be careful, play it safe, and utilize your Well of Radiance and Bubbles if needed to stay alive. Next up is the Scourge of Themis cluster, which is pretty straightforward. It requires you to just defeat each of the 3 Catch Crash bosses on normal mode. Eye, Ransacks, and Skiffix. These rotate weekly, so you'll need to do Catch Crash at least once a week for 3 weeks to get all 3 bosses to finish this one. Alright, now we get into some of the really grindy ones. The 8th triumph is called Fabulous Wealth, and the 9th triumph is called Robber Barons, and they will require you to do a ton of the Expedition playlist activity. One of them requires you to throw 250 treasure engrams into the treasure hall. Each treasure you throw counts as 1, so you'll need to do a lot of treasure throwing to finish this one. Remember, during this activity, each time the treasure hall is at a dig site, the treasure engrams will pop up and you can toss them in. If you focus on the treasure only each time it pops up, you can get a bunch of progress in each run. However, keep in mind while doing this triumph, you definitely want to be focusing on the next triumph as well, Robber Barons, which requires you to kill 50 total ruffians, which are only present in this same activity. This one is a huge pain to do. I'm not sure why Bungie programmed it the way they did, but at each dig site when you're tossing treasure into the hall, eventually a ruffian unstoppable champion will spawn. There will be some drifter dialogue when it spawns in. According to some details on Reddit, it will take roughly 2 minutes and 45 seconds to 3 minutes from when you start digging to spawn the ruffian. So you don't want to fill your treasure haul too fast. In fact, you'll likely need to leave it at 80 to 90% full for a little bit and wait for the ruffian to spawn. If you fill the treasure haul to 100% before the ruffian spawns, it won't spawn at all. And if it does spawn, but then you fill the haul to 100% before it dies, it'll despawn. So essentially, you want to focus on tossing treasure for your Fabulous Wealth triumph until you get a certain percentage. Then, hold off until the ruffian spawns and kill it, and then you can finish tossing treasure to 100%. I will tell you that this is probably best done in a fire team of people who are all on the same page. You can get 2 to 4 ruffians to spawn per expedition if you time everything perfectly, but if you're solo queuing with blueberries, they may not know and be tossing treasure too fast. The only thing I can recommend to do to help this if you're going solo is to try to control the treasure throwing by essentially tossing treasure engrams in the opposite direction. While your team may get mad at you for essentially sabotaging the expedition, it'll keep them from filling the treasure haul up too fast before the ruffian spawns. Be sure you get at least 1 shot on the ruffian before it dies. If not, it will not count towards your total. These 2 triumphs are a grind for sure. Find a team of people to work on with them and put in the time. And finally, and likely the most grindy of the entire seal, is the Salty Smith triumph, which requires you to craft all 6 of the seasonal weapons. This one can be a beast, because you're going to need multiple red border versions of all the seasonal weapons to unlock the patterns, which enables you to craft each one. You can get the red border versions multiple ways, but none of them are super quick. First, there seems to be a higher chance of red border weapon drops on Master Catch Crash than regular. However, this obviously requires a full fire team and around 1600 power. Secondly, there are 2 options in the star chart to help get them as well. First, you can focus your Umbral Engrams in the star chart for seasonal weapons, and if you have the upgrade, Focused Weapon Spoils, which allows you to focus specifically any of the seasonal weapons you've unlocked that are in your collections. This will require the plundered Umbral Energy, however, from the expeditions. Secondly, you can upgrade the weapon treasure map, which will give you a map that guarantees a weapon at the end of the expedition. These 3 ways are probably your best options for farming red borders to unlock the pattern to craft. But wait! If you are only interested in just completing the Triumph, there is currently a cheese for this. At the time of making this video, it's still working, but I would bet at some point Bungie is going to fix this. Essentially, you can trick the game into thinking you've crafted the new seasonal weapons. All you need to do is equip any of the seasonal weapons you want the game to have you think you've crafted, and then go to the Enclave and craft literally any other weapon. When you craft the weapon, you'll receive whatever weapon you actually crafted, but the game will think you crafted the seasonal weapons that you have equipped and give you progress towards the Triumph. So if you have all 6 seasonal weapons on you, equip them all to speed this up. I have no clue if Bungie will patch this, but if not, this is a very, very easy way to finish this Triumph. And that's everything you need to do for Scallywag. It's a pretty big grind this season, requiring a ton of catch crash, a ton of expedition, as well as finishing the seasonal quest. Have fun plundering out there, Guardians, and to the plank with ye. Arrgh!